Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. So a little bit of a late video for me today, but we have some huge breaking news. This is probably the biggest Second Amendment news that I have given you guys in the past 4 or 5 years. President Trump just signed an executive order protecting the Second Amendment. And one of the things that he did in this executive order is he is basically telling the Department of Justice to back off existing lawsuits that are challenging things like the FRT and braces and all that stuff. It is a massive executive order, so let's talk about it. Okay, so let's just go ahead and dive right into this executive order, and we'll talk about all the different things that he did here. There's far too much for me to be able to memorize, so let me go ahead and pop it up on the screen. Okay, so you can see here it says Protecting Second Amendment Rights, Executive Order dated February 7th, 2025. By the authority vested in me as President by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered. Section 1, Purpose. The Second Amendment is an indispensable safeguard of security and liberty. It has preserved the right of the American people to protect ourselves, our families, and our freedoms since the founding of our great nation. Because it is foundational to maintaining all other rights held by Americans, the right to keep and bear arms must not be infringed. Section 2, Plan of Action. Within 30 days of the date of this order, the Attorney General, which is now Pam Bondi, shall examine all orders, regulations, guidance plans, international agreements, which is great, that's the UN, and other actions of executive departments and agencies to assess any ongoing infringements of the Second Amendment rights of our citizens and present a proposed plan of action to the President through the Domestic Policy Advisor to protect the Second Amendment rights of all Americans. B. In developing such proposed plan of action, the Attorney General shall review at a minimum 1. All presidential and agency actions from January of 2021 through January of 2025 that purport to promote safety but may have impinged on the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens. So anything from maybe the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act or other orders that have infringed on our constitutional rights, they're going to have to take a look at that. So even if it says that it's for safety, it's now up for review. 2. Rules promulgated by the Department of Justice, including the ATF, from January 2021 through January 2025, pertaining to firearms and federal firearms licensees. So this is where they're going to go over all of those agency actions. So all of the rules that the ATF has come up with over the past 4 or 5 years, they're going to have to take a look at those now and possibly overturn them. So that right there is a huge one. Number 3, agencies, plans, orders, and actions regarding the so-called enhanced regulatory enforcement policy pertaining to firearms and or federal firearms licensees. So the zero tolerance policy, it sounds like that's going to be pretty much out too. Number 4, reports and related documents issued by the White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention. So they're going to go over all of those documents. Hopefully they just throw them in the paper shredder. Number 5, the position taken by the United States in any and all ongoing potential litigation that affects or could affect the ability of Americans to exercise their Second Amendment rights. That is the biggest one to me right there, because that means they're going to go over all of the lawsuits. So any ongoing or potential litigation, so FRTs, things like that, they're going to go over all of that litigation, and possibly, hopefully, this means that they are going to withdraw from those. So maybe not challenge them anymore. And that would be fantastic. It would basically, that basically means that we could win all of the lawsuits that are VATF anything. So that could be the biggest one right there. Number 6, they're going to take a look at agency classifications of firearms and ammunition. 7, the processing of applications to make, manufacture, transfer, or export firearms. So again, more huge news. Section 3, implementation. Upon submission of the proposed plan of action described in Section 2 of this order, the Attorney General shall work with the Domestic Policy Advisor to finalize the plan of action and establish a process for implementation. So, I mean, this is huge. We just had a president sign an executive order that could eliminate all of these ATF rules, that could back the federal government out of any existing lawsuits or any pending lawsuits that might come down the road. We just had them end zero tolerance. We're having a look at any documentation or paperwork or anything that was created from the previous Office of Gun Violence Prevention. This also mentions international rules or agreements, which is fantastic. Maybe we can get rid of the whole sporting purposes thing, which is what stops a lot of the imports. If we can get rid of sporting purposes and change certain agreements with other countries, then that would be great. We would see a lot of new stuff here. But that section 2, the meat and potatoes of this, basically says, hey, look, we want to review all of our policies, all of the agencies that are tasked with enforcing these policies, and we want to make things the way that it should be. Now, I could be getting ahead of myself here because I'm reading this, and obviously it's very exciting to read it. We'll see what comes of it. This is just the order. Maybe not much comes of it, but just taking a look at this executive order, he's basically telling Pam Bondi, hey, we need to have our Second Amendment rights restored. Take a look at these agencies. We need to fix the problems that were caused by the previous administrations and even administrations from before that. One of those rules, remember, was his before he overturned it. So again, I just wanted to let you guys know about that. A little bit of a late video, but again, this executive order is just massive, so I wanted to share that with you. Thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe. You guys have a great day.